like actually. So I'm like,
So your name is Jan, correctly? That's how it's pronounced, or correct?
yeah,
Okay.
mostly.
Okay.
You're
Yeah. Huh?
Vlad? Vladimir? Vlad?
Yeah, Vladimir. Yeah, or Vlad. That's fine. Yeah. Where from? Because your time zone is so close.
I'm from Croatia.
Croatia. Okay.
Where it is?
Huh?
Where it is?
Sorry.
Do you know where it is?
Of course. Of
Ah,
course. It's like Mediterranean, next to
yeah,
Italy.
yeah.
Uh, yeah, Хорватия. Хорват.
Hrvatska. Lots of people ask me like, is that Russia or something?
No, of course. That's funny, but
Where are you from?
well, huh?
Where are you from?
I'm from Russia, from originally from Kaliningrad. It's like small exclave of Russia, in Europe.
Never
Yeah.
heard it.
So yeah, I've seen this. I just noticed that it's so similar, like things that we develop. Um, and I want to ask you, like, how you, why are you doing this? Like, do you have, what is your vision? Why are you doing this?
Well, I'm doing this because I'm actually like really lazy in software development. I wouldn't say I'm lazy, but I think most of the boilerplate and most of the configuration code we write should be generated. There is
Mm-hmm,
of like we should only describe the system and the system.
mm-hmm.
I think like the way we approach building applications is like all wrong, especially like user interfacing applications. To
Mm-hmm.
make the just tree editor, which will have generator components in it.
Mm-hmm.
These trees generate something. You create a workflow diagram how they interact, and then if you need to, you write some code, to modify some data. Like I don't know, in the middle of a workflow, you write some middleware, but
Mm-hmm.
that's it, and you just click and deploy it.
Mm-hmm.
No need to write configuration, and no need to write a ton of code, which is like boilerplate to connect data to data. You have front end, you have back end. Even
Mm-hmm.
if model you have front end, finding the path between them is just like drag and drop. It shouldn't be manually writing code.
Yeah, but the thing that it gonna generate this configuration. So it's like for microservices or something else. Like, what's the primary use? Primary
Well,
use.
everything basically. I want to like have a tree editor. For now, I
Mm-hmm.
generate Kotlin data classes, GraphQL schema, and now
Mm-hmm.
GraphQL queries and mutations, like
Mm-hmm.
generate basic resolvers.
Mm-hmm.
And I also want to generate sketch files and view models and UI bindings.
I see. I see.
And then I
Yeah.
can
Well. Mhm.
gonna be also a thing that's
Yeah.
far ahead a bit for me.
Sorry. Sometimes I don't hear you. Like, can you like move closer because sometimes your voice disappears. Sorry.
Database schemas are like in the future of my idea for me. I'm starting like UI first.
Mm-hmm. I see. Okay. Yeah. Well, from my side, I was just thinking about structured editing, and uh, yes, and I see many different examples of structured editors, but they all were very specialized for single language. And if language was not like successful, not perfect, something went wrong, the whole work was put into structured editing, like lost, wasted. And I thought, maybe we could just build something neutral, like a platform, and then share it. So it wouldn't be lost in vain if language is not that successful. Yeah, so that's what I'm trying to do. Also, tree editor.
Yeah, I think the tree editor turns out to be a better solution for a lot of stuff. You can define data with it, you can define user stories with it, you can define write code with it.
Yeah, it's huh?
It's super universally useful.
It's like Excel, but not tabular. Yeah.
Excel, but yeah, you can make it tabular.
Mm-hmm.
Or use project, what's it called? Aquaman or Aquameta. Someone posted
Oh
this.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I've seen it. I've seen it.
Like, oh man, so many. That representation of data instead of graphs in tables and rows and columns, it's just like such a headache. No,
It's painful. Yeah.
yeah, a graph, but a tree. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and you said that. So how would you implement UIs? Because you have trees, you probably gonna have some kind of fancy representation of those trees, and then you like gonna do something with them.
No, I'm gonna have like predefined elements, like a list or
Mm-hmm.
item, and then just write a tree like a screen contains a list like screen. Then next step is, I don't know, toolbar, and it
Mm-hmm.
has its children are text, title, button, and each
Mm-hmm.
button is actually an action, and
Mm-hmm.
each has a bind for the value.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna want to generate those both as sketch files and as interfaces, and then
Mm-hmm.
I can connect those interfaces to the backend, the created model.
Mm-hmm.
So I would have one tree on this end of the data in the backend, and on the left side, on the other side, I'd have the view model tree, and then it's basically just drag and drop connecting, like binding
Mm-hmm.
them. But then, of course, I know I can generate sketch files from those, but the styling, the colors, that's gonna have to be human made.
Mm-hmm. When you say sketch files, you mean this like vector editor, right?
Yeah,
Thing. Mm-hmm.
yeah, because it has actually its structure. Sketch file is just a JSON. It's a
Mm-hmm.
bunch of JSON files zipped.
Okay, I didn't know. I didn't know.
I was like, also when I saw it, I was like, oh my god, use the app. I can just edit the JSON.
Yeah, that's so cool. Yeah, I just I was thinking about this tree editor, and I thought, okay, I thought I want to users to allow users to create little programs that display part of the tree. For example, this is the map, and there's the coordinates. This is something the graph, something like that, and it starts to look like a browser where you have applications, and I'm like, oh my god, this is so complicated. How to design it properly? Like, what is the interface like between platform and this application? So, have you had like similar thoughts? What do you think about this?
What do you mean, like uh, the tree exposes an interface to the UI? I'm not sure what do you mean.
Uh, I'm saying is that there's a market of applications like package management and stuff, and you can install them. And one application receives a tree and returns a tree.
Yeah. I'm exactly thinking of that. Like, my long-term vision is to create an open source Lambda marketplace,
Mm-hmm.
which easily include into the editor just to configure stuff. Because just like, well, I mean, each microservice or each component
Mm-hmm.
define its own input and output, like have predefined input and output, and
Mm-hmm.
can make wrappers around them, like which adapt one type of input to other type of output.
Mm-hmm.
Because just like the Unix philosophy, like it does one thing, it does it well. You just pipe in the input, but you gotta make an adapter in the pipe. I think there's gotta be some human work in that adapter, but
Mm-hmm.
a lot of it can actually be achieved by proper text matching. Because a lot of time, if you name stuff properly,
Mm-hmm.
like a similar name. Otherwise, you can probably just
Sorry, I'm not sure I understand. Why do you need like text matching? Sorry.
Well, I don't know if trying to connect something that takes in latitude and longitude,
Mm-hmm.
and you have a data source that exposes a tree that has latitude and longitude inside it.
Yes, yes.
Basic text matching can be done just like infer some conclusions and present them to user, like autocomplete, but
Mm-hmm.
basically complete, try to find anything closest to any relation between the data, a simple text matching.
Mm-hmm. I see. Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking that maybe the application should have like patterns and it should match again those patterns. And like if it does match, it just automatically pop up and you can use it. If it does match, it's skipped. And yeah, and because it's a tree, we can have really long unique keys and say one application defines what kind of keys it expects, and everyone it sees it just or like matches, displays. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, yeah, I get what you mean.
Like,
Yeah,
mhm.
matching, pattern matching, but in the end, it all turns out to be text.
Yeah, right. Oh, I was also thinking about, yeah, I was thinking how to layer those applications because it looks like you're gonna have applications and there would be some parts of the tree that are not processed. They're like left children trees that are not used in this application. And you, I don't know, it's complicated. So I haven't solved the how
Why
how
would
should
you
we.
have children that aren't used?
Well, for example, I have a application which is just displays code, for example, and most of the time code is just line. But then some part of it might be not line, but like formula, and or some graph or some kind of other widget. And this application should allow others application to interpret this children in some weird way, like differently.
Not
So,
in a weird way, actually. Like,
huh?
it's children just needs to point to another tree.
Sorry?
It's children, like that child, which should be
Mhm.
a graph, just needs to point to another tree that contains the structure.
Yes, I understand. I'm thinking about.
The renderer would be, yeah, the renderer would be more complicated. I mean,
Yeah. Mhm.
not-
I think even inventory can be done, but what I'm worrying about is what is the proper API?
yeah, that's a good question.
So, okay, maybe we can talk sorry?
Tree data has a renderer like that's bound to it. You register a renderer for a type of tree,
Mm-hmm.
and then basically you just have a tree of renderers in another.
Mm-hmm.
You'd have the tree of data in another dimension. You'd have the tree of renderers.
Yeah. Something like that.
They'd have to interact.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe that. Yeah, yeah. That turns out to be complicated. Like it depends on the user, how the user wants to interact, how the user
Yeah.
wants
Yeah,
to interact.
so many parts. So it's better not to make decisions prematurely, like too early, not to hard code anything. Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe we can talk also about like general. Uh, it's like how you like adopt this future of coding group. Like maybe you can tell it, like your story if you want, or.
Well, my story is that I've been developing like since I was a kid. I think 10 or 11.
Mm-hmm.
193, so that's like 2003, 2004, and starting with basic and PHP. Oh my god, I was writing stuff like my own blog CMS.
In Basic?
So I basically went to like free website templates or something like that. Download templates, like replace the content with what is now known as mustache expressions. Back then it was
what expressions?
You know, you have like brackets and strings inside them, and then you parse and replace them.
Yeah.
With that thing, like this huge mumbo jumbo of PHP and HTML code. But yeah, it worked for a while, and I was so happy with it. But yeah, then I went to high school and started doing Android guys by the end. Started college, then started working in a company that was building mobile apps, and just quit college because like fuck that. Then went to develop in a startup, leagued in the mobile team there, and now I'm at Undabot, like software development company. Also, we also make primarily mobile apps, but also backends and middlewares for huge clients.
I see.
Telcom and A1.
Cool. So, and then, like, I don't know how it was for you. For me, it started with Brad Victor video, like, or
From the group.
Yeah, for this future of coding.
What video? What video?
Yeah, Inventing a Principle. He gave a talk. Like he gave several talks about different ways to program and what are the alternatives, what are the past ideas. Yeah, so
Past ideas, which are new ideas again. But how did you start
sorry, I can't hear you.
coding? What do you do usually?
What I do?
Yeah.
Well, I was software developer like for 6 years or something. Like developing backend, sometimes front end, like Ruby on Rails, some Erlang, a little bit Python, React.js. Yeah, and I was like spending all my free time trying to like create new programming language or understand what should be solved and just trying to design the proper something useful. Yeah, and at some point
Perfect language, the holy grail.
Yeah. The silver bullet, right? Yeah, and at some point I realized that I need to become a researcher. I want to become a researcher and do it full time, but the problem is that I didn't have a degree. Yeah, now I enrolled into university and like right now I'm studying.
Really?
Yeah.
I was thinking the exact same thing. Like, damn, I should go back to college. That's where the interesting stuff is now.
Yeah. So I know I wasn't sure about this decision because I'm kind of getting old for this shit. Yeah, but I'm here. So
yeah. Better to study now than to study even later, like in your come on.
yeah, so huh?
Yeah, sorry, just
No problem.
so what you're making your structural editor in, basically JSON?
I do it for now. There is mostly only front end, and it's in React.js. Yeah, and I using just inputs like HTML inputs, just like you do. But I just like make them a little bit more stylish, maybe. But it's pretty much the same. So no rocket science.
Oh yeah, man. I tried spending so much time to make it.
Huh.
Yeah, that's terrible because JavaFX has only rich text effects editor.
Mm-hmm.
They made a library. I like take it and like, okay, this is more complex lines with total just has this generic style.
Mm-hmm.
So like to get have a text item and to get the line in which the item is, I need to like go find the paragraph, match the paragraph to the line, match the start, find the starting line. Why so many complications? I was like, okay, I'm gonna find my own text.
Sorry, bad communication. Like, I barely hear you. Sorry.
Like, yeah, I really went to make my own text component just for and
Mm-hmm.
too much work.
Yeah, like I also at some point tried to like find us some kind of editor and then hack into it and like kind of it's so complicated indeed.
Really,
Yeah.
yeah. I tried looking at like available stuff in React and Vue. Like
Mm-hmm.
the best I found is actually this library, Rete.js. I don't know if
I'm sure I heard about it.
it's a visual program.
Hello, hello. Uh,
Here's the link.
uh-huh.
Visual programming library.
Okay.
It's really damn great. Like you can have scopes
Mm-hmm.
inside them, scopes inside those scopes, just like trees.
Mm-hmm.
Check it out. I think it can be pretty useful too.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I seen it before. I was looking for something and seen it. Yeah. Cool. Good that you send me a link. I want to review it. Maybe it's gonna be somehow useful. Yeah. Yeah. What we were talking about? Implementation of this tree editor. Yeah. Yeah. And I thought I'm gonna use simple inputs, but make it look like it's a text or something. So it would more or less work the way people used to it.
No, so it can look natural.
Yeah, but it's a lot of nitty gritty with like events and.
I know, like I have so many checks. Is the field has the field been updated? Did the user create a new field below it or up above it or what's going on?
Yeah.
Much complication.
Yeah. And at some point, I realized like, okay, for now, I'm gonna make editing only for the top three, like, and the rest you have to navigate to them.
What do you mean?
It's like you have top three, like keys, values. If the value is just a string, like you can edit right there. If it's a tree, you have to select it, navigate to it. It's less convenient, but it's easier to implement. So
Yeah. Ah, that's a bad idea. No, I went all the way, but I like have a DSL where I define the dimension for the tree, like what are the rules for this type of tree.
mm-hmm.
So the root, like for each level of child, or
Mm-hmm.
whatever you decide the child has, like whatever you decide, each level can have its own behavior, like its own autocomplete, its own
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that, and its own maximum depth. So man, that's like yeah. Like I still get issues where I sometimes press enter and try to back from.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, you're too far again. Hello?
It's really dramatic as the scope grows, it becomes.
Yeah, it's real complicated. So, yeah, so that's why I'm aiming at the simplest possible to make it start.
How do you track changes in data structures?
Sorry,
How do you track changes?
my data changes.
No, how do you track the changes of the tree?
Oh, just, you see, input has events on change, right? So when the field is changed, I up, update top tree and it falls down. Like you see, there is a React JS, so you just have tree of data that passed down, and if anything changed, it re-renders it. So
No, no, but I'm thinking like, do you have a version control of the tree or something like that?
for now, no, I'm working on it, but my idea is just make it. See, I'm not editing trees. I'm editing DAG. It's like direct acyclic graph, like a Git. So
Yeah.
version control can be exactly like in Git. So it's kind of simple. Like you just create new tree, replace the name, and that's it.
But I'm like stuck between thinking, do I want to go and track the full tree? Like, you know, new version is a new tree if the hash is different. Or do I want to just track the actions on the original? And then like, you know, how's it called? Reroll, replay. Because if I go with the replay strategy, then I get also the undo and redo. Like
Yeah, yeah. You see, I was thinking about it, but I cannot, haven't come up with decision yet. But yeah, yeah, probably gonna store actions that led to the change and the change it's in the change tree. I gotta store everything like for now. Then we'll see.
that would be a great idea. Like having two branches, the main, like having a main and a tree and actions branch, and then like reducing all the actions into a new commit in the tree branch. It's production or live or whatever.
Yeah, yeah, and if you want to undo, you just go to parent commit or something.
Just like undo, go to parent commit, but you can also see like all the actions, all the changes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I
yeah. That.
write it down on my new IKEA whiteboard.
Yeah, well, you're welcome. Please, of course.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I also thinking like how to make it. You see, there's many future of programming projects that are so ambitious and experimental, and they're really interesting, but they're so far from everyday use. And I'm like, I don't want to do. I don't want to be like this. I want to do something that's going to be useful as soon as possible, like as possible, because otherwise you're not, you cannot verify are you crazy or not, like what are you doing. Maybe people don't need it at all.
Yeah, you go to the extreme end and do a ton of work, and like nobody wants to use that.
Yeah. So mhm. Yeah, I just want to say I have this idea that maybe I want to mount this editing to Git repositories, because Git is a DAG storage. So key is the directory name or file name. Content is directory or content of the file. So you can store any trees in Git, and it's easy to share in GitHub. So it sounds perfect. What do you think?
Direct integration, yeah, makes sense. Basically, but just for storing DAG files, then that's it. Or would you like decompile the tree on a push, like turn it into a file directory structure? Like, do you see when you save like trees, you save just like one structure? Like, do you have one file, or for each tree that's connected to a specific file? Like, is it modularized, like each tree is a file in itself, or do you have like one main tree file?
No, for me, I plan it as any, like you see in this tree, you're gonna have leaves. like the strings that are at the very bottom, they are going to be files in Git terminology, and all keys up there are just directories. So I think I don't plan to make some kind of decomposition or compositional trees. Maybe I would have to later for performance reasons, but for now, I don't care about performance. No composition. So that's the idea for now.
Yeah, I get it. I'm thinking I can structure it immediately with composition because I have this data structure I call lattice.
Mm-hmm.
Like every time I make a node in a tree, like either a tree or a leaf or anything, it automatically assigns an ID and add it to the lattice. And lattice is like a list of all IDs. Like imagine, it's a map of all IDs, and the map of all the dimensions, or like modules, like Kotlin module, GraphQL modules, that this node exists in. So like I create a node, and it exists in as a, I don't know, let's say GraphQL type.
So it's the last words exist as what?
As a GraphQL type, let's say.
GraphQL type. Okay.
And then in other dimension, like in Kotlin module, the same node exists, but represented as a Kotlin view module.
Mm-hmm.
Node is, has like it's node, but in the other map.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like I have actually like in the end multiple graphs where
Mm-hmm.
nodes make these
Yes.
or
Yes.
do transformations to another node. Like you understand what I mean?
Yes, I kind of understand. So you have like several different graphs, but they have similar structure but different content, and you kind of
Edges are different, the content is different,
mm-hmm.
but the ID of the node is the same.
Yeah, I see. But why would you do that? I mean, why wouldn't you have single tree when you have several keys for different kinds of content?
Well, because I mean, each data element in an application stand alone. It's always related to another element. So it's either a data type, a UI representation of a data type, or something, or an action that user created.
Mm-hmm.
So I figure like everything must be connected to either to a source of some kind.
Mm-hmm.
So user input is also a source
Mm-hmm.
that's connected to a mutation, which is connected to a database, which is to a subscriber somewhere in a microservice or something. And that subscriber is connected into the application service model, and then that's connected to the application view model, which is connected to the UI. Like the same piece of data is connected by different stages of transformation, depending on the application are you looking at UI side from the database side.
Okay, I'm not sure I understood. But I'm thinking, okay, you have some kind of setup, different parts, do something, but at the end, it's a single project, like at the very end. So why wouldn't you have like one big tree where everything is stored and the structure, you have the structure, and so you have like one component that has like inputs, something else, something else, something else, and it's gonna be all together, a single tree, but different leaves. Like, what do you think? Like, why is it not convenient to navigate, or is it not convenient to version? I mean.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's not convenient to update it that way, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, this is all like it's a root node children, like.
Yeah.
But I find it easier to just add another layer, like another dimension, like another graph representation of the same node. I find it easier that way to define and manipulate them.
Okay. I'm thinking, because I think it's clear that at least to store, it's easier to store one thing because you have to one version. You don't have to like trying to align them. But what if you have one storage, but you have different views where others are filter out?
Well, that's it exactly. That's like one approach, but all different projections.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, I see now.
And aren't exactly some projections can have like mutations and transformations inside them.
Mm-hmm.
So they are related to the data through the edge, but not a copy of it. But yeah, exactly. Like it's one storage, but with multiple views and multiple projection types. I call them dimensions. It's easier.
Yeah. Okay. I see. So there was just issue of terminology. Okay.
Vodka?
No cognac. No, just water. Joking. Yeah. Okay.
That's kind of confusing. It even confuses me sometimes. Mm-hmm. I like it as a data structure. I don't know why.
The tree?
Yeah, no, the multi-layered graph.
Yeah. Well, there must be reason for it. There must be reason why you like it. So. Yeah. Okay. Did you heard about IPFS?
Oh yeah, great stuff, man.
Yeah, I was. Mm-hmm. Okay.
I was building.
Yeah, please go ahead. Go ahead. Okay.
You go.
Okay, I just told you about like this idea of attaching this tree editor to Git because it's a DAG, but IPFS is also DAG. And if you store it in IPFS and it's distributed, and you have some kind of tree editor, which kind of browser with applications, what are we getting? It's like new kind of web, but more powerful.
Basically, yeah, distributed web that's easy to edit and navigate. Hypercard.
Yeah.
I was talking to my friend. We were working on something related to this, but it's like more of like HTML for a new kind of HTML, a new kind of browser, basically. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it's all like server-side rendering, and we're thinking like, yeah, the templates could be stored somewhere on IPFS, and the code could be stored as a syntax tree somewhere on IPFS, and the SDK could just evaluate that. Mm-hmm. It's like, let's make it work. Silicon Valley, season 6.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's...
Exactly, that's a great idea.
Yeah, but that's really far away. I'm like, I have no plans to implement it anytime soon. Yeah, so like now I'm trying to make a structure editor, and then try to create a like toy programming language which would be expressed in trees, and then try to discover like what are the properties, and have like a plan for like actual programming language with pure functions and something like that. Yes, and one of the interesting things about trees is that in text code you have name clashes, but in trees you don't have to have, because you have unique IDs.
Yeah.
And also, continue.
Magical refactor.
Yeah, there's many things you could do. And granularity of the version control is like more precise. The information you're gonna get from like version control systems much more detailed, and also like you can have code separately, and then you can connect it to how to say it, a lot of metadata. You can add documentation, not only comments, but actual something
Actual
useful.
actual reference to the version where something was updated and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like it's really so unexplored. It's mind blowing. I really want to get there.
So many directions. Making the best editor ever.
Yeah, well, no, for now I'm not aiming at best. I'm just aiming at just functional. That doesn't crash me.
The best.
Yeah. Yeah, good. Okay, like soon I would need to go, like maybe 5 or 10 minutes. So maybe is there any topic you want to like maybe talk about, or maybe you have any questions? Maybe you want to like I don't know. What do you think?
I don't know. What's the worst part of doing it for you? Like, what's the most complicated part you break your brain around?
Um, Actual design, not graphical design, but API design, because because if you get it wrong, it's gonna accumulate, and new complexity gonna appear in the places that you don't want them to have, and yes, so right now like have several things that I believe that are solid. I can rely on them. Like this is good API, but then I don't know. Some things are unclear, and I'm thinking about them, but I left them for late for for better times to think about again. Yeah,
Ah, that's real complication.
yeah, yeah. And you see, you have some illusions about the application, how people gonna use it, and then when you actually ship it, it's totally different, and all your assumptions that you put into design are gone, and design is incorrect.
You're a developer, so like, at least you're close to the target market.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, I mean that's true. You know, like what shortcuts are expected, like what type of navigation is expected in the editor.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So other people who create projects for, I don't know, for doctors, they're just blind, right? Unlike us, it's real hard to understand.
Designed by committee.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So what do you like? What is the hardest thing that you wrap your head around?
Mostly integrating the editor with the other parts of the UI and the SD, like creating an SDK around it.
Mm-hmm.
Because like I try to keep the editor as minimal and closed off, but the more I wanna wrap stuff around it, like accept the editor, like add these models, like this dimension editor and stuff like that, the
Mm-hmm.
more I can do it, the more I see it influence the tree editor itself. It's
Mm-hmm.
like I'm trying to wrangle so much UI, like both the UI and the changes that can come from this side, from the other side, like basically trying to create a SDK around like the rest of the editor except the tree editor is the most pain in the ass.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So basically, you're thinking about splitting up the core and the supplementary, something like that.
Yeah, because the supplementary stuff, like it's all gets too much boilerplate. I don't know how to express myself.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm trying to find the best way to create the supplementary stuff around the tree editor.
Mm-hmm.
It's breaking my brain. Like, how would they use this? No, I wouldn't use it like that. Like, I don't know. I create on one side like you have the tree editor, and in the middle you have the tree view, and on the far you have like the modules, and on the right you have like the generated code.
Mm-hmm.
So like after making all of that, I wanted to shoot myself in the head. Like so much stuff to track, who updates who. Like, you can code one window. What happens with the state?
But is it possible to create some kind of really small and simple API between those parts, so you could change them independently without worrying about each other?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to like find the minimal API I can make for like the listening of the updates and adding to the update tree and adding dimensions to that tree. Like
Mm-hmm.
the more I build, the more I find like okay, this is not enough. I have to rebuild it. And
Yeah,
just like you said, the complexity starts bubbling up.
yeah, yeah.
I'm like, oh god, no! Like okay, cut it off and let's go at the beginning. Java FX isn't helping. Java FX is terrible.
Yeah.
Like it has its own dependency injection, it has its own view binding, view model, its own observable API. Like it's not the normal observable API like RX, but
Mm-hmm.
it's something FX Java specific.
Okay. Sounds complicated.
Yeah, annoying.
Like, do you have like asynchronous code, right?
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, this is so painful.
I was trying to go like event driven with sealed classes, but that also turns out to be like a huge pain managing a bunch of
Hmm.
it around.
Mm-hmm. But what do you think about React.js? Like, like I don't know. Have you tried it?
Uh, I tried a bit,
Uh-huh.
but really not into JavaScript. I mean, I like TypeScript, but I don't like JavaScript and the whole ecosystem around it.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I don't like it too, but
Write 100 lines of code, then spend the next day debugging what the fuck is happening with Babel. Like, what's going on, man?
yeah, 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 yeah. Like some little package crashes the whole thing.
Exactly.
Yeah, I know.
That's why I tried like using React or Vue, but decide, okay, I'll go with JavaFX
Mm-hmm.
because it's like desktop. So
Yeah, yeah. No, I actually develop for browser, and and I don't know. I think like how to say it. This idea of one way binding, how it's called, one way binding. So you just
yeah,
have state that passed down. If you change it to renders, sometimes it may send an event like up, and then it's gonna go again down, like this.
Uniflow,
Huh?
Uniflow, like Redux.
Uniflow. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Uniflow. And I think for that kind of application, it's really savior because otherwise it's so complicated. It's like yeah, and I think I'm just lucky that they're like I can use React and it and it's kind of not slow and it's still simple.
Kinda, that's slow.
Well, it's not it's fast now. It's not slow, but how it gonna be in future we'll see.
Yeah, I think like I'm trying to do it event driven and keep everything
Mm-hmm.
Uniflow way. There, I didn't find such thing as like a Redux store yet. So like only the changes are propagated or stuff like that. So I have
Yeah.
to send everything, and that's it's like I either have to make my own differ or something like that. To find a
Mm-hmm.
solution.
Yeah, but do you know like is it possible in JavaFX like create immutable data structures and then pass them away, create the new one, pass down? I mean,
Yeah, it is, but
it may simplify things.
whole structure down.
Yeah. I did something like that in. Sorry.
No, never mind. Go.
Yeah, I did something like that in some JS applications. Yeah, it was okay, but okay. No, it was okay. Okay. No, that's the other problem. Okay. Yeah, it was fine. So I don't know. It may make things slower, but certainly makes it easier. And yeah, so my motto is deliver it slow but correct, and then maybe speed it up.
How do you handle when you have like too many reducers, like a ton of reducers and they all dispatch some actions and like wrangling that complexity gets
Um, uh, I'm not sure what what they're talking about exactly because um, you see, I have one global state with actual repository like repo, and have components. Inside components, there is a little state, but it's not stored on the app.
like local state each.
Yeah, local stage. And when I do editing, it updates the state of the component, but it does not change the global state. And when I really need to like update the global stage store, yeah, I do like some what do you call reduce action. It produces new and passes down. And I have very few those moments when it actually updated. So I don't know. Like, how are your reducers look like? Example, how they look?
They're sealed class actions, like a nested tree of classes.
Yeah. I mean, what they do usually.
Oh, I don't know, modify state like either update a node
Uh
in
huh.
a dimension or add a whole dimension or remove something in one of those dimensions.
But
It's
you
like
see,
in many ways I have multiple inputs that can modify. Yeah, I should make like an adapter for all of those. I've written shitty code. Never mind.
okay. Yeah.
That's what happens. Like the framework has offers view binding and MVC and event driven. So I kind of ended up using all of those. I think.
Yeah.
No, shitty code. I'll refactor it. Then we'll talk again.
Okay, no problem. I'm gonna wait for it. So please.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Soon I need to like wrap up. Yeah. So I really glad that I actually found someone who has similar like ideas and goals. That I'm not alone and I'm not insane. So
That's
yeah. So thank you, and I'm glad I met you. Yeah. I hope we're gonna talk more in the future. Like maybe like sometime after when we get some progress and
yeah.
things to share.
Awesome,
Yes.
man.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah. Bye.